Hi and welcome to Tabletop Oddity. I'm Tally Oddity and this is my second vlog to tell you what I've done since I bought all that stuff. So, to start with, I attempted to glue the stuff together with the plastic glue that we bought. However, it didn't glue very well. Jay thought it was because I wasn't holding it for very long, and it just wouldn't. I started off with the shredders and I was gluing it and I was really struggling. I don't think it helped that they're so small, but I was really struggling with gluing them with the plastic glue. I'm not sure how Jay figured it out, but apparently we should have been using super glue. So I don't know if this might help anybody, but it might help anybody. Make sure you're using the correct glue before you start gluing them. So I glued them together, it was with the correct glue, but also because I struggled with the other glue, some of the joints, it was a bit harder to glue them the second time with the super glue. So if I'm honest, I'm probably gonna get another box of shredders at some point because they're only tiny and I think they're only about £10 a box. I don't know if you get one or two, but they also stand kind of weird. This one, so it's just a bit like it stands on a tilt on the picture, which is a bit awkward. I think that didn't help that they're so small and tiny, and then I used the wrong glue and it made it quite difficult. So I probably should have started with the bigger models first rather than the smaller models. So that's something I've learnt, to start with the bigger models first out of the pack rather than the smaller ones. But did glue them all together, and then once I glued them together, there would be like gaps when you've put them together. So I tried to fill them with a combination of green stuff and liquid green stuff. I didn't have the liquid green stuff in the first video, but liquid green stuff, it's a bit easier to get into the finer bits because the green stuff's it's like blue tack sort of thing, so it's quite big to get into. It's better for some of the bigger gaps, whereas the liquid green stuff's better for the smaller gaps. So I've done a combination of filling the gaps, and then I filed some of the mold lines that were obvious, and I think I took some of the bits off the feet. Some of them I've left on because they stood at a funny angle, so I've left the thing on this one so that when I glue it onto the base, I don't know actually, I might actually take it off and it'll glue onto the base properly, because the base comes with a hole in the middle of it. So I'm probably gonna fill them at some point before I put them on the base, obviously, and then paint that up is one of my next jobs. So once I glued them together, then filled them with liquid green stuff and the green stuff, I felt like they were ready to spray with primer. So my boyfriend Jay sprayed them with primer, and to be fair, I think they look so much better than they did in the pack. This is probably the best one for the details. So as you can see the lines on the wings a lot more clearer now that it's been sprayed. Some of the details have come out a lot more since they've been sprayed. However, they have also, when it's been sprayed with the primer, it's also showed up some of the mold lines that I've missed on some of them. So there's on this guy, there's some mold lines that I've missed that aren't from me gluing them together, it's from just how it's come. So I need to file them in some places. Obviously mine aren't going to be perfect because I'm a beginner, I've only just started, so it's a learning process, but it's also showed up some of the gaps. I'm going to probably liquid green stuff some of the gaps again because like I've said, it with primer in it showed up more of the gaps and things that I hadn't noticed the same before it had been primed. So that was quite interesting. I also didn't realise that it'd bring out the details so well. So I'm very excited about painting them up. I'm going to hopefully be painting them up very shortly. But also, even though I said I did glue them together, he's not got his arms because he's gonna be holding his like arrow gun thing really close to his chest, so I wouldn't be able to paint his chest very well, so I'm gonna do them separately. So also while I was in between waiting for the super glue to come, because we didn't have enough super glue, because we'd bought quite a lot of plastic glue which turned out wasn't the right sort of glue that we needed, I made a rock. Da, da, da. So it's my first time. I'm not a very creative person at all. So I just decided, well, to be fair, to start with, I was like, I'm making a castle. I'm going to make a castle and it's going to be the best castle ever. And Jay was like, think you might want to start with something a bit more simple than a castle. So I was like, fine, I'll make a rock. I will make the best rock ever. So I made a rock. So what I did, I have loads of these paper cups knocking about for some reason. I cut it, and then I paper mache'd it, and then like tried to make some lumps and stuff. So it was, because to be fair, it's like, it's not that far off. So you might be able to see, I just like made it uneven sort of thing, made a rock type of shape with the paper mache. Then once that dried, that took about 24 hours, I then got some filler, and I put filler all over it to make it more bumpy and like rock-like surface. I then filed that once it had dried. That didn't take very long to, because filler only takes about half an hour to dry, so it didn't take too long to dry, so I filed it down. And then I did a base coat on it of a very dark black in just an acrylic paint. I then mixed some white and black paint, acrylic paint together to do a lighter colour. And then I dry brushed it with, again, another lighter grey and then like a bit of white. And that's how I ended up with that. But I did go on Reddit and I asked for some help on Reddit, because I've never done anything like this before. And also Jay was telling me how to do it, and I thought, I bet the people on Reddit will know how to do it better. To be fair, the people on Reddit more or less told me what Jay had told me, but I'm stubborn and I didn't want to listen to him. So I now have a random rock. Don't know what I'm going to do with this one random rock, but I'm kind of glad. I think it looks pretty cool for a beginner rock. I'm kind of impressed by the colours of it. So that was the other thing I've been up to since the first one. And lastly, I've been learning how to play XWing. So me and Jay played a tutorial game of XWing. I think I won the first game we played, and then everything after that I lost. But we played the tutorial game. I picked it up quite easy, and then we went on to the advanced rules, and I think I wasn't really paying attention to what Jay was saying, so I started to struggle with how to pick it up. So we played a couple of games. I was sort of struggling picking it up. I don't know why, because mostly it was just adding some extra cards in, but the cards blew my mind for some reason, and I was struggling to pick it up. But it's one of the easier games, which makes me worry about how I'm going to learn how to play Hordes. But I'm sure I'll get there in the end. I've got the book. I've not started reading the instruction book yet. I really need to do that. I was just like, let's make pretty things. So yeah, so I like making pretty things. So what I did then, Jay and one of my friends, Schooler, was like, well, why don't you just play on your own and then you'll pick up the rules. So I did. I played a game on my own and I played me versus me. So I obviously won that game. Felt pretty good. I've won a game. But I feel like I know it quite well. We then had like a 2-week break and we've played it again today. I lost today, but I think I'm getting the hang of it. I'm not confident against playing strangers yet, but I may be willing to play against, say, a friend, so then I'm not just playing against Jay. But I have really enjoyed XWing. To be fair, I really love Star Wars, so that's probably why I was like, ooh, XWing, I want to play this. Ha 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 ha. So I have enjoyed playing XWing. I think I now know enough that I wouldn't be really embarrassed playing it. So the next thing I'm probably going to do is go over the models, do some liquid green stuff, try and get any mold lines, and then I'm going to attempt to paint them. Like I said, this is the first time I'm doing them, so it's probably not going to turn out great, but to be fair, I was quite impressed with just the primer, how much better it made it look. I'm sure with time I'll learn more techniques. If I learn anything, I'll obviously tell you in the vlogs and tell you what I've picked up. And obviously, if anybody has any beginner style tips, don't be giving me advanced tips. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to be good enough for advanced tips yet. If anybody's got any like good beginner tips, if you could tell me in the comments, I'd really appreciate it. So that's me done for this vlog. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and feel free to share so that maybe somebody can help me with my beginner Warmachine stuff. So thank you very much for watching, and bye. Like and subscribe, please. Dee dee dee.